Genesis chapter 31. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob had taken away all that was of fathers, and that which was of fathers hath he had gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not towards him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers and thy kindred, and I will be with them. Now we see the attitude of Laban changing. Why? Because Jacob had become mighty and mighty, and God was blessing him. And so the Lord came unto Jacob and said, Return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with them. The most important thing we see that God being with Jacob, and therefore it reflects unto us as Christians that even in foreign places, in areas that have been strange unto us, what is important is that we be with God. When we are within the confinements of God, our life is going to be transformed. And he says he will be with us now and forever till the end of time. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father countenance, that it is not towards me as before, but God of my father hath been with me. And he knew that with all my power I have served your father. And your father deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. We see Jacob complaining that the father did change the wages 10 times, but at the end of the day God was with him. And if he said that the speckle shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckle. And he said thus, the ringstreak shall be the hair, then bore all the cattle ringstreaks. Thus God had taken away the cattle of your father, given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes, and I saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which lived upon the cattle were ringstreaked, speckled, and greased. And the angel of the Lord spoke unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up thy hand. I see all the rams which live upon the cattle are ringstreaked, speckled, and greased, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointed the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return to the land of thy kindred. We see that God is faithful and remembered Jacob and told him of the covenant and vow that he had put across. Therefore, wherever we encounter different situations in life, let us know that when we put our vows, God is always faithful to see that we come towards it. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there any yet portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? I do not count of him strangers, for he hath sold us, and quite devoured also of our money. For all the riches which God had taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now when whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his good which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which behold he gotten Pandaram, to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were his father. And we see here these images were simply gods. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, that he told him not, that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and rose up and passed over the river, and set his face towards the Mount Gilead. And it was told of Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take that thou speakest not to Jacob, either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now we see that God has been came to Laban, and he knew before that. We see that Laban had not known that Jacob had left, because he had gone to shear his sheep, and he pursued him when he got the message for 3 days, for 7 days, and God appeared unto him and said that he should neither speak good nor bad unto Jacob. And when he arrived at the Mount Gilead, In verse 25, the word of God says, then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tents in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said unto Jacob, what hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Wherefore did thou fleest away secretly and steal away from me? And this didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, and tabrets, and with harp. And hast thou not suffered me to kiss my sons and daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my God to do you hurt. But the God of your father spoke unto me yesterday night, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And now thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou wast so long as after my father's house, yet wherefore thou hast stolen my gods. And Jacob said, Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live before our brethren. Discern thou what is done with me, and take it for thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. We see now Jacob put a curse, that whoever shall be found with it shall die. And this he did not know, unknowingly he did that. And he did not know that Rachel had it. And we see that Laban was a man of divinity. He was a very spiritual man. He had his gods. Also we see that God spoke through him. And therefore, in 33, and Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's, and into of the two maidservants' tent, but he found them not. Then he went out of Leah's tent and into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease me, Lord, that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered unto Laban, what is thou my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hast hastily persuaded after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff? What hast thou found of all the household stuff? Set it before thee, my brethren and thy brethren, that it may judge between us both. These 20 years I have been with thee, the ewes and the she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams their flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee, I bear the loss of it. Of my hand these thoughts require it, whether stolen by day or by night. Thus I was in the day, and the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in the house, served thee 14 years, and 2 daughters, and 6 years for the cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. We see Laban was not really a great person, because he suffered Jacob harm, and required of him of everything that happened, every loss, it was unto Jacob. And we see this is the kind of oppression sometimes people of God go through. Sometimes you need the grace of God to be able to withstand this. And that's why you see God called him and said, now it's time to return. These 20 years that he served he served Laban, Jacob was faithful. And in 42, except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the fear of Isaac had been with me. Surely thou hast sent me away now empty. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children. These cattle are my cattle, and all thou seest is mine. And what can I do this unto these my daughters, or their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let us it be a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it for a pillar. We see during the days they used for any covenant, we see Abraham doing it. They used to set up a pillar, because it initiated something like an agreement. It was where an oath took place. And 46. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jegash-Dutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee, whether we are absent from one another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man, if thou see, God is a witness between me and thee. And Laban said unto Jacob, behold this heap, and behold this pillar which thou have cast between me and thee. This heap be a witness, and this pillar be a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and thou shalt not pass over this heap pillar unto me for harm. Then the God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their fathers, judged between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob would offer sacrifice upon the mountain, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, kissed his son and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned unto his place. We see now in this main chapter, we see the covenant of Jacob and Laban. And above all, we have seen that Laban wasn't a very nice person. We see that Laban had his issues, and he was mean to Jacob. He changed his wages 10 times, but God was always faithful. God fought for Jacob. We see that the angels of God appearing unto Jacob and giving them instructions. And therefore it is a motivation upon our saints that God will always fight for us, despite the places of oppression. God shall still reign, and his power shall be with us. I shall bless us according, as long as we are a people under his covenant, as long as we are walking in his righteousness, God is always faithful. And above all, we are going to see more in the next chapter. I hope the main story, or the main point of this story, we see that there is a covenant that is made, and what I want you to take heed is the words that Jacob said, that he that took the gods of Laban, that he shall surely die. And you see that this is a decree that he declared, and we are going to see how it's going to affect affect people or is going to affect Rachel in the coming chapters. May God bless you. Shalom. Till next time. May God bless you.